Hello, dear viewers. My name is Liam Smith, and welcome to a special Halloween edition of our channel. Tonight, we're going to dive deep into the realm of the supernatural as we bring you two spine-chilling, true Halloween horror stories. So grab your favorite Halloween candy, turn down the lights, and prepare to be both terrified and enthralled. But remember, these stories are not for the faint of heart. Now let's begin with the first tale that will send shivers down your spine. So let's get started. Story number 1. On the eerie night of October 31st, 2023, a chilling darkness descended upon the city of New York. As the full moon cast an ominous glow over the city's iconic skyline, the residents of the metropolis prepared to embrace the spookiest night of the year. Little did they know that this Halloween would be unlike any other they had experienced before. Our tale begins with Caleb James, a young man who had a peculiar fondness for Halloween. He was notorious for his intricate costumes and elaborate decorations that transformed his suburban home into a haunted mansion. Each year, he pushed the boundaries of creativity, and this year was no exception. Caleb had decided to transform his home into a haunted asylum, complete with eerie sound effects, fog machines, and lifelike animatronic patients. He was determined to give the neighborhood kids a Halloween they would never forget. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Caleb stepped into his asylum-themed costume, a deranged doctor with a sinister smile. He adjusted the prosthetic scars on his face and grinned at his reflection. Tonight, he was ready to unleash a spectacle that would terrify even the bravest of souls. As darkness settled, Caleb's home came to life with eerie music and flickering orange lights. The front yard was filled with ominous gravestones, and a fog crept out of the bushes, creating an otherworldly atmosphere. Word spread quickly through the neighborhood, and families with children began to arrive, eager to see what Caleb had in store. The night began as expected, with children and their parents laughing and screaming as they explored Caleb's haunted asylum. The eerie sound effects and lifelike animatronics sent shivers down their spines. Caleb, dressed as the sinister doctor, played his part to perfection, delighting in the terrified gasps of his guests. As the night progressed, however, an unsettling feeling began to wash over Caleb. He noticed strange occurrences in his own home. Doors creaked open on their own, and the sound of faint whispers echoed through the hallways. At first, he brushed it off as a product of the elaborate decorations, but the unease gnawed at him. Caleb decided to investigate, leaving his guests in the capable hands of a friend who was helping with the event. As he ventured deeper into his own haunted asylum, the air grew colder and the whispers became more distinct. The voices seemed to call his name, and the shadows played tricks on him. It was as if the very house had turned against him. In the dimly lit hallway, Caleb stumbled upon a room he had never seen before. Its door had a peculiar symbol etched onto it, and the handle felt icy cold to the touch. Curiosity got the better of him, and he slowly pushed the door open. What he found inside sent a shiver down his spine. The room was unlike anything he had prepared. It was a decrepit, abandoned hospital ward, and the patients seemed all too real. They stared at him with hollow eyes, reaching out with skeletal hands. Panic overtook him as he tried to escape, but the door slammed shut behind him, trapping him in the sinister room. Meanwhile, outside, the guests grew restless as Caleb's absence stretched on. The friend he had left in charge tried to reassure them, but the night had taken an ominous turn. Some children began to cry, and their parents exchanged worried glances. The once thrilling haunted asylum had become a place of true terror. Back inside the haunted asylum, Caleb's frantic attempts to escape the room were in vain. He felt an overwhelming sense of dread as the patients closed in on him. The room seemed to warp and shift, becoming a nightmarish maze. Desperation set in, and he screamed for help, but his voice was drowned out by the ghastly wails of the patients. Outside, the atmosphere had grown even more oppressive, as if the very air was charged with malevolent energy. A sudden cold wind swept through the yard, extinguishing the flickering lights and plunging the area into darkness. The guests fled in fear, leaving the haunted asylum behind. In the depths of the night, the darkness that had descended upon New York on Halloween seemed to swallow Caleb James whole. His fate was sealed within the haunted asylum that had turned into a nightmarish reality. His friend, unable to find him, called the authorities, and a search was initiated, but it was as if Caleb had vanished without a trace. Days turned into weeks, and hope of finding Caleb grew dim. The Halloween night that had started with so much promise had ended in a chilling mystery. The city of New York whispered about the disappearance of Caleb James, and the haunted asylum remained untouched, a sinister reminder of that fateful night. As the years passed, the haunted asylum gained a notorious reputation, and the neighborhood children dared one another to venture inside. It became a place where strange occurrences were commonplace, and those who entered rarely returned unchanged. Some claimed to have heard the whispers, others claimed to have seen Caleb forever trapped in the dark maze. On October 31st, 2023, as the moon once again cast its eerie glow over New York, the haunted asylum stood as a testament to the Halloween night that had changed everything. Caleb James, the young man who had loved Halloween like no other, had become a part of the very darkness he had sought to create. And so, in the heart of the city that never sleeps, the legend of Caleb James lived on, a haunting tale of a Halloween night that no one would ever forget. Story number 2. On the eerie night of October 31st, 2023, a chilling wind swept through the darkened streets of Los Angeles, setting the stage for a Halloween unlike any other. In the heart of the city, Ethan Alexander, a young man known for his skepticism and love of the paranormal, found himself in the midst of an extraordinary and truly terrifying encounter. Ethan had always scoffed at tales of haunted places, dismissing them as mere superstitions. However, this Halloween night would change his beliefs forever. As the moon cast an ominous glow over the city, Ethan set out on an adventure he would never forget. Ethan had received an anonymous letter in the mail that afternoon. The envelope was peculiar, adorned with strange symbols and sealed with crimson wax. Inside, a single sheet of old, brittle paper contained an enigmatic message. Tonight, at the stroke of midnight, you will discover the truth you seek. Meet us at the abandoned Hawthorne Manor. Intrigued, yet skeptical, Ethan decided to investigate. He had always wondered if there was more to the supernatural than met the eye, and this invitation seemed like the perfect opportunity to prove or disprove his doubts. As the clock neared midnight, Ethan made his way to the outskirts of the city, where the Hawthorne Manor loomed in the distance. The once grand mansion had fallen into disrepair, its windows shattered and its grounds overgrown with eerie, twisted trees. The place exuded a malevolent aura, even from a distance. Ethan arrived at the mansion, guided only by the dim light of the full moon. The night was ominously quiet, save for the occasional rustling of leaves and the distant howl of a lone wolf. With every step, his heart quickened. Upon entering the forsaken manor, Ethan was met with an astonishing sight. A group of individuals dressed in archaic, tattered clothing gathered around a circle of candles, their faces obscured by grotesque masks. They chanted in a language he couldn't comprehend, and the atmosphere was thick with an unsettling energy. At the center of the gathering, a figure emerged, wearing a crimson robe. A voice resonated through the room, echoing with an otherworldly quality. Ethan Alexander, welcome to our gathering. You seek the truth about the supernatural, and tonight you shall find it. The crimson-robed figure revealed a sinister secret about Hawthorne Manor. In the 1800s, it had been a sanctuary for a coven of witches who practiced dark magic. They had summoned powerful entities and harnessed their energies. This act of hubris led to a curse that bound their souls to the mansion, condemned to roam it for all eternity. Ethan listened in shock as the crimson-robed figure continued. The gathering intended to break the curse by making contact with the spirits and appeasing them. They needed him because his skepticism was their key to success. Belief, they claimed, had the power to set things right. With reluctance, Ethan agreed to participate in the séance to contact the spirits. The room darkened as the candles flickered and the chants grew louder. A palpable sense of dread filled the air as the boundary between the living and the dead began to blur. Sudden chills ran down Ethan's spine as ethereal figures emerged from the shadows. The tormented spirits of the witches who had once dwelled in the mansion appeared, their faces twisted in agony. They spoke of their curse and the suffering they endured for centuries. Ethan realized that his skepticism had been shattered and the supernatural world he had denied now surrounded him. He begged the spirits for forgiveness and offered them solace, believing in their existence with every fiber of his being. The spirits, appeased by his newfound belief, started to dissipate, their mournful cries fading into the night. The room filled with a sense of closure, and the curse was finally lifted from Hawthorne Manor. As the first light of dawn broke over Los Angeles, Ethan Alexander left the once haunted manor, forever changed by his encounter with the supernatural. The spirits of the past were set free, and the mansion was left in a state of eerie calm. From that night forward, Ethan became a believer, dedicated to unraveling the mysteries of the paranormal. The tale of his Halloween night adventure would be whispered for years to come, a reminder that on the spookiest night of the year, the boundary between the living and the dead can blur, and the unbelievable can become reality. I hope you've enjoyed our special fright-filled video. If you dare, please share your thoughts, comments, and your own eerie experiences down below. And remember, Halloween may be over, but the stories of the supernatural never rest. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.